Hey guys, this is Joe from Veevar Guitar. We're starting a new series today. It's called Top of the Chops. Basically, I'm going to take whatever the #1 single is in the UK at the moment, break it down, show you the chords, the scales, how you can play the vocal melodies over the top of it, basically get you playing the song every single week. So before we start, hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon, because this is going to happen every single week. If there's no guitar in the song, which can happen nowadays, we'll put guitar in it. Okay, we've also got some other teachers that are going to be doing some content every single week as well. So yeah, make sure you subscribe and we'll get into it. Cool, so this week's video is going to be Billie Eilish, her James Bond song. So just a bit of trivia behind the song. It's written by her and her brother Phineas O'Connell. If you didn't know, they basically write all their stuff together. And there's another producer on there as well, Stephen Lipson, I think his name is. And I'd imagine he's the guy that is doing all of the orchestral parts because he's been involved in films like The Dark Knight with Hans Zimmer. So yeah, this is going to be a typical James Bond theme song and we're going to break it down now. Okay, so most of you that are into your James Bond will know this riff. Now, I'm not going to teach you that today, but if you think of this new Billie Eilish song, No Time to Die, from the new James Bond film, it's kind of in the same world as that, and a lot of the James Bond themes they're very kind of dark and moody and have that kind of vibe. There's a lot of that ascending and descending chromatically. So we're going to look at it in full detail with the chords, the key, the scales, the vocal melodies. But we're going to start off with this intro. So it's a piano riff. Most of this song is piano, to be honest. I've transcribed it to guitar. And as a guitarist, you want to learn songs that not many other people are learning. You know, you can cover them and transcribe them to guitar, things like that. So it's always good to know. Now, the E minor chord at the beginning kind of sets the key off. So the key is in E minor, but there's some weird chords in there. There's an A major and a B major, which aren't diatonic in the key. So we'll talk about those later, but yeah, just keep those in mind for now. And basically this piano riff goes over the top of the chords and repeats. And then at the end, on the 4th cycle, there is a variation of this riff to go over that B major chord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the chords down first. I'm going to show you which chords they are, then show you how to play the riff, and then I'll do a close-up shot where you can hear it all together. I use a Ditto looper pedal by TC Electronic. If you're going to follow this channel regularly, it's probably recommended that you invest in one of these because they're great for this sort of thing. If you're at home playing on your own, then you've got basically a jam partner right there at your feet. So yeah, really, really good. This one's basically got a button to loop, and then you can stack that loop, and then there's just one more volume knob on it for the loop. So really, really simple. Okay, anyway, without further ado, the first chord we got is an E minor. Then you got a C. Then there's an A major and a B major. Okay, so nice simple bar chords. The scale that I'm going to use is the E natural minor scale, and it's shape 4 on the 7th fret of the A string is where I'm going to start. I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to play the scales and the chords and stuff. I'm going to kind of assume that some of you know it, some of you don't. The ones that don't and want to learn it, you can go to our website at veevarguitar.com and you can subscribe to our syllabus. Anything you see in the videos, you can basically type in a search engine and there'll be a whole lesson on it with video content and everything. So yeah, check that out if you need it. Anyway, the riff. So we start on the 7th fret, we go 7, 9, 10 on the A string, and then 9 on the D string. And it repeats that 3 times. And that variation at the end is 6, 7, 9 on the A string, and that's to go over that B major chord. So I'm going to lay the chords down on the looper, play the riff on top, and you can hear what it sounds like. Okay, so that was the intro. We're going to look at the verse chords next, but before we do that, I just want to discuss this A major and B major that I was talking about. So the A major chord, the reason it doesn't fit diatonically in the key is it's got a C sharp in it, where normally it should be a C. So that C sharp in the key of E minor, if I play the scale and add that C sharp in instead of the C, you get... Okay, and that's known as the Dorian mode. Those of you that know your modes will understand that. Those that don't might think I'm chatting gibberish. Anyway, we can kind of ignore that note to an extent. It's quite nice in the chord progression, but in terms of soloing, we can either avoid it, we can accent it only when it happens, so you have to be aware when that chord is coming in. But a lot of the time during the song, he's resolving that A major to an A minor, very randomly throughout the song. So we'll go... Okay, so we can kind of use it as a lead-in note as well, lead into that. We just have to know where it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to improvise over the top of the chord progression that I just did, and I'm going to accent those notes as well. But really what I wanted to talk about was the B major chord. So that has a D sharp in it instead of a D. And when you add that note to the E natural minor scale, you get the E harmonic minor scale. I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with that sound. Okay, so the B chord happens at the end of most of the chord progression cycles. It creates loads of tension before resolving to that E minor. Okay, so really, really nice, and we can accent that note or the harmonic minor scale, play that scale over that chord right at the end to create loads of tension and then sound very, very nice when we go back to the E minor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chord progression that I did on my looper earlier from the intro, and I'm just going to improvise over it, and I'm going to use the E natural minor scale, the E minor pentatonic, and the E harmonic minor scale, but only over that last chord. Okay, so now we're going to look at the verse. Now, a lot of music producers that I work with, they always want me to play their piano voicings, which sound really nice. They're all kind of close voicings, very different to guitar that I've found. But with them, I can kind of ask them to spell out the chords. So, you know, give me the low notes first and then leading up to the high notes. But with the song, you can't. So I've just kind of had to work these out myself. I'm kind of sure they're right, but they might be slightly different here and there. So the first chord I think is an E minor add 9, which usually I would play here. So it's an E minor with the F sharp on the D string, 4th fret. Or I'd play it up here, so the E minor bar chord, stretch my little finger over to the 11th fret on the G string. But I think he's playing it down here. When you play it down here, it's very dark and moody. So the F sharp down on the low E string, and then you've got B, E, and then open G. So really, really, really moody. And then I think he's playing the C chord here, C, E, and then G, but with an E in the bass. And then the A chord as a normal A open chord with the E in the bass as well. And then sometimes he's resolving that to the A minor. Okay, so again, he does that in 3 cycles, so 3 times round that, and then puts a different ending on. So I'm going to play the different ending. It basically ends on a C major to B again. So if you just watch these carefully. Okay, and that's the verse. It repeats twice, or sorry, repeats once, so it does a total of 2 times. And then in the second verse, I think he only does it once. Okay, so pre-chorus after that is a bit easier. It's just bar chords and open chords. So we got C major. And then E minor. And then A minor this time, not major. And so, surprise, surprise, ends on the B again. Okay, so that's basically it. 4 chords for the pre-chorus leading into the chorus, which is our main guitar riff. So the riff is the only guitar riff in the song, really. So we're going to have some fun with this one. It's quite simple to play. It's literally single notes, no power chords or bar chords or anything. Literally single notes. But you want to turn up your gain, you want to turn up your reverb, and just get a really nice effect on it. So I'm going to show you the individual notes first, nice and slow, and then I'll do a close-up shot so you can see it nice and up close. So we've got a B, so 2nd fret on the A string. This comes in on the last bar of the pre-chorus, so it's like a pickup. Then I slide from the 4th fret D string to the 5th, but I don't know if that's on the recording. It might just be straight to a 5, but I'm going to do that now anyway. So, and then 4th fret D string, 2nd fret, and then while that's ringing out, you put an open A underneath it. Cool, so I'm going to show you that nice and up close. So for the second part, let me turn that distortion off. For the second part of this chorus, I think it's like the best part of the song for me in terms of like the vocal melody and the chords that go underneath. It's just really nice. So I'm going to show this as the chord progression with the vocal melody played on top of it. Okay, so it's basically going back to your E minor chord, C major, and then A minor. Hold that for 2 bars. Same again. Cool, and the melody over the top of that is really nice. I use shape 4 again of the E natural minor. You can use whatever shape you like really, but this is it on its own. So you only get the beauty of that when you hear the chords underneath. So I'm going to do a close-up shot again and play the chords underneath on a loop with the melody on top. Okay, so that's basically it. There's one last little bit though, and it's the spy chord, the typical James Bond chord that I think is in every single song. Don't quote me on that, it might not be. It should be if it's not. But it's an E minor major 9 chord. So we do an open E, 10 on the A string, 9 on the D string, 8 on the G string, there's that nice note, and 7 on the B string. Lovely. And if you put tremolo on it, it sounds really, really cool, and loads of reverb as well, so I'll show you that now. And that's basically it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy playing it. Like I say, we're going to do these weekly. If, for example, a song lasts a long while up at number 1, which can happen, Ed Sheeran, then we will do number 2 in the charts, number 3 in the charts, whatever for that week, okay? But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.